Hey, it's Jeff Keighley, and you are at SheAttack.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Erica from SheAttack.com. I'm here at E3, and I'm talking with Andy Hall, the lead writer of Total War Warhammer.
Hi.
How are you enjoying E3?
It's my first E3. It's fantastic and overwhelming at the same time.
I was going to say the same. This is my first one as well, so it's just very overwhelming.
Oh, we are both first timers.
So much fun though. A couple questions about this game. I just got a presentation.
Sure.
Amazing. Looks awesome.
Thank you.
Can you just tell us more about it, more in depth about the game?
Okay, so Total War is actually a PC war series that's been going for 15 years actually this year. Normally it's a historical series. We've done like Rome, medieval times, and Shogun as well. But this is our first foray into fantasy using the Warhammer IP, which is a long-established British IP from a company called Games Workshop.
Awesome. Some of the characters I noticed in there that you can use, I believe they're all playable. You got orgs, you got...
Yes, everything you saw in that demo is playable. I mean, what Total War excels at is a turn-based campaign game, which you use a campaign map for, and then the battles themselves are real-time, visceral, dynamic battle simulations. And so there's a great fit between Warhammer, which is, as I said, a tabletop miniature war game,
Right.
And so we're effectively bringing that to life in a video game setting, realising those fantastic miniatures, of which I'm a lifelong fan myself. So for me, it's almost emotional seeing Cole Franz, for instance, who's the leader of the Empire, the human faction. You saw that human race. Sorry, seeing them kind of realised as fully animated, living, breathing figures. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear, because like I was telling you earlier, I'm new to this. I've never played these games before, so as you said, it's coming from the previous game, just kind of taking that and...
It's taking the Total War formula, so to speak, the paradigms that have been well established for 15 years now, and layering on this rich, dark fantasy IP. Saying that, you won't need to have an entrance exam in Warhammer lore to be able to play this stuff. We're going to focus on some great kind of first 2-3 hours of gameplay is about getting you familiar, not just with the lore, but how Total War works, and hopefully kind of setting you in a good stead to then take control of an entire empire, and they will all have different challenges. So the Empire, the humans, they've got, as you will play as Cole Franz, the Emperor, and you've got to unite the realm. You've got to unite all these disparate provinces, and making you ready for the greater threat from the north. And as orcs and goblins, they're green-skinned. I'm sure many people are familiar with orcs and goblins in various incarnations, but they're a rowdy, brutal bunch that love war, and they've got to form what's called a war. So orcs go war, and in this case, so your strategy for playing as the Empire, about maintaining and building those provinces, looking after your citizens in the town. The orcs aren't interested in taxing their folk. It's about war and tribal conflict. So you've got to form wars and expand and brutalise the enemies before you. And if you kind of just leave them to it, they're going to start fighting each other. And the other races in the initial release are going to be dwarfs and vampires.
Wow, vampires.
Yes, vampire counts.
Yeah, that piqued my interest. So when because like I said, I'm new to it, and just seeing the presentation was amazing. It kind of reminded me of like a Lord of the Rings, kind of just like a big battle, and just all of these races coming and clashing, and so you get to do you get to bounce around and control each kind of sector, or are you just on one?
No, you have the whole battle to manage. But the way the control system works is that can sound unwieldy. but the way the control system works is you can group units and send them on flanking manoeuvres, or you can go down to you can do it in a macro way or even a micro way, to the point where the Goblin Doom divers, for instance, which are the Goblin catapult guys saw.
With the wings?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
That was awesome.
You can actually take flight one and follow him and guide him into the units. And I know a lot of players, when they first start playing it, get obsessed with firing the
they're like
the Doom
kamikazes,
divers.
essentially. They
are
go
kamikazes,
for it.
with a joyous squeal they go. But the problem with that is, while you're focusing on doing that, then the battle is still, because it's a real-time battle, it's still going on behind you, so you've got to make sure you're managing your army just as any general would.
Right. There's so many. It just seems very overwhelming, but I'm sure once if I tried it out, I get the hang of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes a while.
That battle you've just seen is the conclusion of what we call a quest chain.
Okay.
And so you'll work up to that point. So hopefully by that point you'll have had experience.
Yeah.
But we're not going to drop players into that.
Okay.
We're going to make sure they're familiar with the controls, familiar with some of their forces first. But every battle, because it's Warhammer, will be turned up to 11 and epic in nature.
That's a perfect word to describe it. Epic. It was very epic. I know in the presentation he also mentioned about expansion packs. 2 are coming, I believe.
Yes. This game is the first in the trilogy, and so each expansion will bring us some new races and new areas of what will be the campaign map, and they will lock together to create just a massive world by the end of it, and all these races will interact, and you can dominate the world if you're willing.
If you're willing to. Yeah, that sounds amazing. So, any closing thoughts about the game? Maybe anything that the public maybe doesn't know about, or some kind of secrets, or things we could be looking forward to as far as anything else?
Well, it's. I'm obviously quite biased towards it. I used to work at Games Workshop. I've always loved the IP, and so I'm trying to seed as many kind of Easter eggs in there.
Okay.
For the long-standing Warhammer fans, there's plenty. They'll probably find, if they've read a lot of the Black Library books, if they've read all the Army books, hopefully there's some great stuff in there that they'll find.
Okay.
But at the same time, if you're new to it, you'll find it compelling in itself. But I suppose what I'm looking forward to most is some of these fantastical war machines that you've seen. It's just seeing how they work, because the miniatures are static. By their necessity, they're plastic or resin miniatures. So to see them come to life in a way, to hear one of the rocket launchers fire off, it's great.
Yeah, awesome. And it releases when?
Sometime in 2016.
2016. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Not a problem.
All right.